Hello, my name is Amy Dallen, and I am here to talk with you guys about comics. I am a lifelong comic book fan, but I've also been lucky enough for the past 5 years to work at a comic book store in Burbank, California. Hello, House of Secrets! I've actually discovered that a huge chunk of the comic book reading population have at some point in time worked in stores. I think it must be something about fostering our lifelong addiction. And that brings us to our very first topic, the welcome issue! The first important thing to remember about comics is that everyone is welcome. Whether you've been reading them forever, have never read one before in your life, or are like the woman who walked into this store who got seriously puzzled walking around and came up to us and said, "How do you stay in business?" It doesn't matter how much you know or don't know about comics. The reason that it doesn't matter, and why I don't call myself a comic book expert, is that there is more to know than any human being can know in their entire lifetime. And that is a great problem to have. In its modern form, it's only really a century plus old. Now, comics, just like movies, have already accomplished a huge breadth of things all over the world in different genres with different focuses. Foci? But I am wandering way off topic. To explain to you exactly the scope of what we are talking about when we talk about comics, I decided to make a little chart that would sort of note down the basics. This was my first draft! Yeah. What I'm saying... I know the perfect way to explain this. When it comes to comics as a topic, I will defer to the misguidedly adapted words of Mr. Douglas Adams. Comics, as a topic, is big. Really big. You just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road to the chemist, but that's just peanuts to the metaphorical area taken up by the subject of study known as comics. One thing I have learned from my years at the comic book store is that the answer to a question depends not just on the question, but on the questioner. People with different backgrounds or levels of knowledge or levels of interest or tastes are all going to need and appreciate different sets of information. If this vlog series is going to be worthwhile, then I am going to need your help. I need your questions, so I can pick them out and help to narrow down the incredibly enormous field of potential topics. And for the record, newbies, please bear with me when I dive off the deep end into the intricacies of how an inker becomes controversial in the 70s, or into the history of Kitty Pryde's costume changes, or into whether or not the Dojinshi explosion in Japan is responsible for important changes in women's roles. Probably yes. I don't actually know that much about that last one, but I'm gonna learn. And experts and longtime fans, please bear with me if I occasionally get a little 101, and send me your corrections and improvements, because, like I said, nobody knows everything. That is a basic outline of what we're gonna be doing, and to finish it out, the other thing I'm gonna be doing, aside from addressing your questions, is just sharing cool stuff. So today, in honor of the bigness, just unimaginable bigness of comics, we are going to be doing a reading from a volume that summarizes that quite well. One Masterpiece Comics by R. Sikoryak. It takes classic comic styles and adapts classic literature into them. So, for instance, The Crypt of Bronte, which is an EC horror-style retelling of Wuthering Heights. Dostoevsky Comics, which is come on, Batman, Crime and Punishment. Match made in heaven, right? Our selection today: Little Pearl. Look at these adorable roses. Hester's Little Pearl in Red Letter Days. She should be branded. She ought to die. And that goes for her mother, too. Pardon me, sir. I'm a stranger in town. Who are those two up on the scaffold? That's Hester and her new baby, Pearl. Back in Europe, Hester had a short, ugly husband. She sailed here years ago, but he never followed. So Hester was left all alone, without guidance. And along came Pearl. Oh, yeah? And who is Pearl's father? Hester won't tell. Her husband should look into this mystery. He should, if he ever gets here. Anyway, Hester's punishment is to wear that letter of shame on her gown forever. That's fair. Still, the father should suffer too. He will be known. To read more, either petition me for full reading, which I'm not sure if it's illegal and is probably super boring, or find your own copy of Masterpiece Comics. These won't all be plugs, although I guess this one inadvertently is. If you enjoyed any or all of that, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and for the love of Pete, check out all of the other Geek and Sundry vloggers because they are amazing folks, and I could not be more excited to be a part of this. Thank you so much for joining me on my maiden voyage as a vlogger, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks!